Today is Saturday, October 17th, 2015, and this is the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome, first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website, bunnyslippersareevil.com. There you will also find links to our Facebook page and our Twitter handle. If you are listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. Now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to expensive outplacement. We give job seekers company-sponsored workshops as well as the one-on-one job seeker boot camp. For more information, go to www.bunnyslippersareevil.com. Resume Edit is a low-cost, high-quality resume writing company with resumes as low as $35 written by certified resume writers. You can find them online at resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers Are Evil Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume into a web page with a customized name for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a professional, personalized email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com. For more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you're thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. There are many... Oops, sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Okay. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more complicated screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long, complicated applications, branding and social media. Yes, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle and miss out on today's opportunities? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies personally tailored to your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private session with head coach Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find out the facts now. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto, the world is your oyster, be the pearl. Yeah, all these years and I still mess up the intro. I'm so sorry. Anyway, welcome to this week's show. Got a great one for you, PIE, and I bet a lot of people are trying to figure out what PIE stands for. Well, we will talk about it. It's not pie, but we'll talk about what it stands for. But first, let's talk about the upcoming, and I told you every week I'm going to talk about this until it happens. On November 14th, second or third Saturday of November, I think it's the second Saturday, we are having our job seeker speed dating elevator speech show. And that is when, as a job seeker, you can call up 347-202-0929 is the number. You'll call in, and we'll give you 30 seconds to give your elevator speech. You can talk about what you're looking for, what your background is, and how to find you. Okay, you got 30 seconds to give your elevator speech on the air. And I'm trying to get as many recruiters to chime in and listen as well. So this may be a great opportunity. If you're a recruiter or hiring manager, this may be a great opportunity to find that diamond in the rough. If you're a job seeker, this is an opportunity to get yourself to get your message out. It's free, first of all. All you have to do is call up, and what we'll do, if as many callers as I have, if we don't have a lot of callers, then you get more time. So it's something to think about. But again, the intent is everybody will get 30 seconds, and you'll be able to come online and give your elevator speech and talk about who you are. Okay, who you are, what you're looking for, what your background is maybe, or definitely what your background is, but let's maybe about who you are. You got 30 seconds to give your commercial, is my point. You got 30 seconds to give your commercial about yourself. And maybe some hiring manager or recruiter might go, hey, I'm looking for somebody just like that. So you'll have that information and give how to contact you, either email or a phone number or something. Okay, we want to do this. I'm doing this because I'm trying to help people, number one. I'm not going to use any of these contact information, but I'm going to post this information. It'll be in iTunes. It will be on, the video of it will be on our YouTube channel. Okay, and who knows, a week or two later, some hiring manager or recruiter might happen to listen to that show and go, oh, I want to talk to that person. Okay, here's how we do it. Here's the contact information. Let me call that person. Let me reach out to them on LinkedIn. Okay, so this is your opportunity. If you're a job seeker, this is your opportunity. I'm not promising you anything. I'm not promising you'll get a job. I'm not promising. I don't know how many hiring managers and recruiters will listen in. I'm blasting it all over our Facebook page, the YouTube channel. These commercials before every show for the next couple of weeks. We're putting it. I'm definitely putting it in LinkedIn. So please, if you are a job seeker, this is your opportunity. Doesn't matter how if you feel like your elevator speech is not good, this is an opportunity for you to get on the ball. If nothing else, you can call and listen to other people's elevator speech, maybe get some tips on how to make yours better. So again, this is a show for job seekers. Remember that. First and foremost, this show has always been about helping job seekers, and this is just the way I'm trying to do that, to try to help some job seekers. So again, the date is November 14th, 10 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If people in California, hey, you just got to get up early. But it's not just for the East Coast, it's for anybody anywhere. I don't speak Spanish. All I speak is English. I'm not saying you can't call in if you speak another language, but just know that I will not be able to interact with you if you speak another language. And you know, whatever you say, and then at the end, give your phone number to contact you. We're good. Okay, so this is for everybody. I'm not trying to discriminate against anybody. I'm just telling you, I don't speak Spanish. So I don't speak French, I don't speak German, I don't speak Yiddish, I don't speak anything but English. That's just me. I'm not passing judgment. You know, but anyway, this is an opportunity. So I'll talk about this every week until it happens. I'll keep reminding everybody. Okay, this is a great opportunity to get your elevator speech, to get your information out there. Okay, so anyway, that's coming up in about 4 weeks now. Okay, so with that, let's talk about what PIE is. And again, it's not pie. PIE is an acronym, and this is something that I heard from somebody I work with. They just happened to drop this one on me, and I was like, you know, that's really deep, but that's very succinct. What PIE stands for is performance, image, and exposure. And you think about it, that's what you do on that. Those are the things on every job. Those are the things, as I always say, job search is like dating. So that's an opportunity. Dating, you know, you're trying to do the same things in life. Those are the three things in life that you want to do well if you want to succeed. There's no guarantee of success, but you got a better chance if you succeed at those things. Okay, so let's break them down. What is performance? Performance basically is when the rubber meets the road. Okay, we can talk all this stuff, but how do you perform? You know, sports teams, you hear they will talk trash all week leading up to a game. You know, Mike Tyson, he had a great saying. He said, everybody has a plan until they get hit. Okay, performance is what you do after you get hit, or how you keep from getting hit. That's what performance is all about. Okay, so there's two kinds of performance. There's the first kind is objective performance. Objective performance is all about opinion. A lot of times you get promoted because people like you, and we'll talk about that later in exposure and image a little bit more, so image. But objective performance just basically means people like you. Okay. People enjoy your company. Now think about it in a dating perspective. From a dating perspective, you see somebody, you're hanging out with them, you're going on dates with this person. How well are you performing? Do they like your company? Same thing with jobs. Do people like your company? Do people enjoy having you? I'm trying to straighten my shirt here. Do people enjoy having you in meetings? Do you add value with your presence? Okay, it's not just about what comes next is subjective performance. This is more objective. It's how do people feel about how you're performing. Think about, are you pleasing? Are you, these are the very objective. Okay, it's the touchy-feely stuff, Salespeople are more subjective. Here's the numbers. Here's how I'm doing. But this is more objective. It's that image. Again, like dating. Dating is more that touchy feely. Well, that came out wrong, but you know what I mean. How do you make somebody feel? Who is it? One of my old speakers came on one time and he said, "People don't like you. They like how they feel about themselves when they're with you." And I said, that is it. That is perfectly what it is. People like how you make them feel about themselves. Okay? So that's objective performance. Or maybe I got these two mixed up between objective and subjective. One is quantifiable. Let's talk about quantifiable performance. Bottom line, numbers don't lie. Salespeople, you know this very well. Numbers don't, it's all about the numbers. How are you performing? Have you reached, when you get your annual goals in your job, they give you quantifiable goals to meet so that there is no argument. Did this person achieve these goals? Okay. I think, I did mix those two up. This is more the objective approach. Subjective is your opinion. Objective is here it is. Wow, I really screwed that up. Sorry, guys. Google it. Anyway, we're talking about quantifiable versus qualifiable. Qualifiable is subjective. It's, how do they feel? Objective is, here's the number. Did you get these sales? Your goal for the year is X dollars in sales. Did you get those sales? Did you get that level? Did you achieve that level of sales? Yes or no? That's all there is to it. Okay. How do you get a job? How do you maintain a job? How do you get a job? A job is more that soft kind of, the interview process is more, that soft kind of subjective kind of thing. Okay. The interview is, how do we feel? How do we get along? Again, it's like dating. You go out on a date with somebody, and how did the two of you get along? Were you able to have a good conversation? Were you able to chit, make small talk? That's what a good relationship is built on. And that's to some extent what a good performance in your job is built on. It's not always about the numbers, it's about how people feel. We've all known people, and every organization has them, unfortunately. Nobody will admit to it, but every organization has it. We have people who rise to a level of incompetence. There was a book called The Peter Principle, written back in the 60s. I read it years ago. And it said people rise to their own level of incompetence, which means you're competent in a job and you keep getting promoted until you determined to be incompetent at a job, and that's where they leave you. Okay. Relationships. Let me make sure I got to check my notes. The objective. Okay, numbers don't lie. If there's an old song, and I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. There's an old song I heard on a Disney cartoon or somewhere, and it was "Is you is or is you ain't my baby." Forget about my baby part. No, it was some movie I saw. But that's what the objective is. Is you is or is you ain't. Okay, that's all there's to it. Did you? Yes or no? We wanted you to sell 15 cars this month. How many cars did you sell this month? I sold 12. You didn't meet your objective. Period. Well, but they were red cars. We didn't ask you to sell red cars. We asked you to sell cars. But the people like me. We didn't ask you for the people to like you. We asked you to sell cars. End of story. Okay? I was saying, oftentimes the most competent person rises, but they may not be the best leader. Here's what happens. The most competent person in a job, the most competent welder, the most competent pizza box folder, or the most competent widget polisher becomes the leader of the widget polishers or the pizza box folders because this person knows how to do it the best. But they may not be the best leader. And when you promote somebody to a leadership role, it's not just about technical competence. It's about being a leader. It's about who can lead this organization, this group, so that the whole group does better. Not just about, well, this guy can polish the heck out of a widget, so we're gonna make him the man. So that's anyway, that's performance. It's subjective or objective. Subjective, and I apologize for totally screwing that up at the beginning, but subjective performance is the nice, well, we don't know. And I was going to say the last point I'm going to make about performance, it happens in dating as well. How can I put this nicely? Sometimes in a dating situation, the person is upgraded to spouse because they were the best performer. Read into that how you will. But they are not necessarily the best spouse. Just like with a job, the best performer is not necessarily the best leader. Okay. You think about that a minute, you'll get what I'm trying not to say. The best performer is not always the best spouse. Just something to think about, people. Okay. Let me step off of that. Now let's talk about the I in PI, is image. Image is not just what you look like. Image is about how you present yourself. I used to work with someone who, the reason she stuck out to me because she didn't have a size 2 supermodel body. And this is just my own personal opinion, she wasn't the most physically attractive woman. And I apologize, I don't mean to insult anybody, and that's why I'm not giving the person's name. The way I could describe her was that she was very neat. And because she was very neat, I mean, she was very well put together as far as her clothing was always, it fit her perfectly. She wore clothing that fit her body style. Okay. Her hair and makeup were always very subtle as far as she wasn't, like, wow, in your face. Please, I hope that's not the thumbnail for this episode. But she was very neat. She was very well put together. And because of that, she was a very attractive woman from a physical standpoint. Whereas some other people might say, well, she's not a size 2, she doesn't have this and that, her features aren't whatever. But she was very neat. She was you could tell she took a lot of care with herself. And I mean, she didn't have like the hair rolling all over her head and have the crazy, Grace Jones makeup on, trying to attract attention with sparkles in it. And the ladies, you know who I'm talking about. She didn't have the eyebrows that was unibrow or looked like she was surprised all the time. Well, I hope that's not the thumbnail either. But she was very neat. Her image was very neat. She was very professional. And I remember the feeling I had about this person. It wasn't a romantic thing. We she was married or dating somebody, I don't know, but we never got there. But I remember her image was very pleasing because of how she had put herself together. Okay, because of how she dressed, how she managed herself, how she maintained herself. That's what image is. So image is not just, you're beautiful. How did you show up for an interview? I've told this story several times. There was a woman I interviewed one time for a position, and she showed up with a low-cut blouse. And I mean, there was cleavages showing. And I mean, it wasn't, down to her belly button, but it was rather low. And this was an interview. And I had interviewed this woman alone in a room. And I'm, the whole time I made sure I never looked below her forehead. Looked at her eyes off sometimes when we were asking her a question, but other than that, I never looked down. Put me in an awkward position because I can't remember. This is the funny thing. To this day, I can't remember what she looked like if she was, physically attractive. I just remember that blouse. And it was unbuttoned a bit too far for an interview. And, somebody said, well, maybe she didn't know it was unbuttoned. That's why you go to the bathroom before the interview and look at yourself in the mirror and see what you look like. She didn't get the job, but she lost it, in my opinion, and I won't say the company I was with, but she lost the job when she walked in the door. Everything after that was just me wasting time going through the process. And that happens a lot, believe me. But she lost the job on the way in. Her qualifications were irrelevant. Her performance was irrelevant. The last letter is exposure, too much exposure. But the image she brought was not one that I felt I wanted to represent the organization because, she was showing me too much. Taking it back to dating, ladies and men. If you, particularly ladies, because of just the way our society is, if you show up on a date and you're letting it all hang out, and you know what I mean, if you're letting it all hang out, don't wonder why he's only looking at one thing. All you ladies that like to twerk, and twerking got old about 3 minutes after it started, ladies, I'm sorry to say. But all these women who like to twerk and like to advertise that and then say, well, I want a man to love me from my mind. Well, when you show me your mind, I will consider loving you for it. But if you're showing me your twerk, that's all I can love you for if I choose to love you. Image is important. You do not have to have a $500 tailored custom-made suit. You can have a suit off the rack. Just get one that somewhat fits your body style. Men, tuck your shirt in. Make sure your tie is straight. Take the time before the interview to make sure that your collar is down. Make the suit, wear the suit. Don't let the suit wear you. This is one of the biggest issues I have, is that we're not teaching our young people how to wear suits. Okay? And yeah, there are times in life where, you have to wear a suit. If you show up for an interview with me, and I'm in a corporate position, if you show up for an interview without a suit, you get a mark against you. You better be rolling with the qualifications. If you have taken my time and not put on a suit and tie, show me that much respect. Because in my job, we represent this organization. I have to if I'm going to bring somebody else in to represent the organization, I have to make sure that I feel this is somebody that I would feel comfortable representing this organization. And yeah, you may not have to wear a tie every day, but let me know that if called upon to do that, you can do that. So image is not just about how you look, it's how you're put together, how you put yourself together. Okay? Again, this woman with the low cut blouse, right image, wrong situation. If I was looking for somebody at the club, perfect. If I was looking, but I wasn't looking for that in that situation. Remember that the situation you're in dictates the images that you should carry. Okay? She came to a corporate, a business, professional situation dressed like she was going out to a club. Okay. This whole thing about pants sagging. Young people, the reason that we focus on that so many people tell you to stop having your pants sagging, because you got this idea that, I can just pull them up and be good. And, I go to an interview and I'm straight. Let me tell you something. Every day we see people who wear suits who you can tell this person has never had a suit on before. Okay? This person just pulled their pants up and they keeping it real, keeping it moving. Hands not hemmed. You spend $300 for a suit and won't spend an extra $50 to get them hemmed. Okay? Or break out a needle and thread yourself. Yes, I have put hem in some pants. I put some cuffs in some pants by hand. Yes. But anyway, see, that was because we had home ec class when I was growing up. They don't have it anymore. We had to learn how to sew, had to learn how to cook and all that good stuff. Y'all don't know nothing. Sorry. Rat hole, excuse me, y'all. But anyway, image is more, again, it's more than just about what you look like. How do you put yourself together? How do you present yourself? You only get one chance to give a first impression. Just like dating. You want to go on a date with somebody. That first date, that first time you meet somebody, you only got one chance to give that first impression. Okay? Yes, women and men, we size each other up in that first 3 or 4 minutes. We size each other up. Okay, we make a lot of decisions about the rest of the relationship based on that first few minutes. Okay, I've been rambling. I'm sorry, I got about 5 minutes left, so let me get to the last one. We did performance, we did image. Now we're doing number 3. The E is exposure. How often do you get exposure? This is a funny thing in corporate America. You can get probably as much exposure as you want because a lot of people don't like exposure. A lot of people want to sit in the back. So you can get exposure by volunteering for things. If your boss asks, I need somebody to do this. I ain't doing that. Volunteer for it. You want exposure, okay? But get that exposure, you got to make sure your image is right, and you got to make sure you're performing. See, all 3 of these are tied together, Okay, you want to move up in corporate America, you want to move up in a dating relationship, you got to have all three. You got to perform, you got to have the right image for that situation, and you got to get exposure. And exposure means you got to be out with the, if you're in a dating situation, you have to be exposed. You have to let the person see you or interact with you. Okay, you can't call somebody once a month and then ask them to marry you. You know, unless you're calling them once a month because you're in a submarine and you guys only come up for air once a month or something crazy. But other than that, you cannot do that. Okay, you just can't. You know, if you don't have the exposure, you rather, no matter how well you're performing, you will not move on. But anyway, volunteer, step up, show up. That's how you get exposure. When they ask for volunteers for things, do it. Get as much exposure as you can. But when you get that exposure, again, have the right image. Okay? Exposure is possibly the easiest of all of these because it's just, ooh, me, you know. In school, think about when you were in school. You might perform well on a test, but did you sit in the back and pick your nose? You know, think about the students that the teachers remember. My mother was a teacher. The students that she remembered had all three. They performed well, they had a good image, and they had exposure to her. They raised their hand, they answered questions. When she called upon them, they answered questions well. That's what life is about, people. When you're called upon to give, when you're called upon to expose yourself, and I don't mean in the freaky kind of way, but when you're called upon to give exposure, you perform and you do it with the right image. Okay, I don't care how great you are. You got to be super fantastic to come to an interview and pick your nose. Show up later in an interview, pick your nose, and don't have the right qualifications. You don't perform, your image sucks, and your exposure is horrible. Okay. So again, a lot of people don't want exposure, so it's very easy to get it. It's not just about being the face. There's a lot of people, and I'm probably going to hurt some people's feelings here. There's a lot of people, especially in churches, when there's something important to do, when you can stand in front of the church and you know, show off, and you know, you got your little badge or whatever. There's a lot of people that are willing to do that, but who's willing to roll the sleeves up and do the hard work that comes before that? Okay, and believe me, when all you do is show up when it's time to get in front, people know. People know that, oh, this person is not a performer. They're just in it for the exposure. People know. Okay, people know. But do you perform when you have that exposure? Do you get up on stage, again, and pick your nose? Do you have the right image? So exposure without performance and without the right image is nothing. Okay? Image without performance and not getting the exposure is nothing. You could have the perfect corporate image, you know, suit and tie, the Windsor nod, everything is fine, and nobody ever sees you. Image is a waste. You can perform. You can be the baddest widget polishing person in the world, okay? But when the boss comes to talk to you, you tell them where to go and how to get there, okay? And you don't want to see him. You're like, look, man, don't even come down here. Leave me alone. I'm just knocking this out. Just leave me alone. Fine. He will leave you there and let you just be knocking out, shining them widgets, okay? You got to have all three is my point. You got to have all three. You've got to perform. You have got to have the right image. And you have to have exposure. Without any of those, it is very hard to move on in corporate America or in life or in a dating situation if you don't have all three of those. Okay, you look at right now we're going through political campaigns, and you think about it. Everybody's talking about what they'll do. Well, at least on one side of the aisle, they're trying to have the right image and they're trying to get as much exposure as they can. That's what life is about, people. PIE: performance, image, and exposure. Okay, as always, I'm always shocked that I can talk for a half hour. I ramble. Anyway, everybody, thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on the website, feel free to subscribe to this podcast in iTunes and leave feedback so others can find it. And I truly appreciate it. When you land, please don't forget us. Please go to Cafe Press Store and buy a t-shirt, a water bottle, a coffee mug, a clock, or a sweatshirt. It will help to support the show. I don't make a lot of money off of those things. I make really nothing. I'll be blunt. But I want you to just have a memory, a memento of your time in transition. Because if you forget this time, as bad as it is, you forget it, you are doomed to repeat it. You set yourself up do it again. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Sorry I rambled, but have a great week, and I will see you again next week. Take care, and bye-bye.